Hey everybody, welcome back to Sweet and Savory Barbecue. I'm your host, Jamie Trader. Today, we're going to show you how we make this awesome pulled pork on a Weber Kettle. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we've got a almost 9 pound, 8.5 pound pork butt here. Just going to bust it open. I like to cut on the fat seam side. That way you don't cut into any of your lean meat. So the first thing I want to do when I'm starting any pork butt is I'm just taking my hands and I'm feeling around. Sometimes there's little pieces of bone that get stuck. I don't feel anything right now. So we're just going to do a light trim. Anything kind of hanging. Sometimes you get little pieces in here that don't quite look appetizing. Like that's from the butcher. So we're just going to kind of even it out. Not going to be too worried about that, especially for what we're doing with it. Trim some of this fat around the money muscle down here. Money muscle is going to be on the opposite side of that blade bone right there. You can see where it runs like little medallions. If you're a comp team, you're gonna know what that is. If you're just cooking for the backyard, you don't really need to worry about it. Flip it over to the fat side and just constantly feeling around. What we're gonna do is we're gonna score it. This is gonna help render this fat a little more. Plus on the grill, this fat will get kind of crispy and good. And you can mix it in there with your pork, get a little bit of texture. I'm just going like a checkerboard pattern, 1 inch or so squares, and that's it for trim work. Now it's time to get some seasoning on this pork butt. I'm going to start with the fat side. That's going to be the side that goes down on our grill. So we want to keep that not as pretty as the top side. So I'm just got some, I think it's avocado oil. You can use pretty much anything. Mustard, hot sauce. I've seen people use ketchup, mayo. If I'm using a binder, a lot of times it's just oil just because it's what I have on hand. You can use really any kind of oil. And I've got my Sweet and Savory O.G rub. That's what we're going to go down with. Use whatever barbecue rub you like. Pretty good coat. This is a really big piece of meat. It can take a lot of seasoning. Our fat side. Turn it up on its ends. We'll get our edges. I like to just pat it in to get that rub to adhere. You don't really want to rub it at all. This side and the money muscle side. And then get the meat side. We'll get some oil down. You don't need a lot, again, just enough to let it stick. And then come back with the OG rub. You can even do this the night before if you want. It doesn't hurt it. Again, big piece of meat. I normally do mine, between 30 minutes and an hour before it goes on the grill. You can just let it sit out here on the counter for that 30 minutes to an hour. Get our Weber Kettle fired up. We've got our charcoal in this kind of a snake method. We lit it on this side. It's going to burn all the way around. We're going to get plenty of cook time out of this. And if you really need to, you can always add more coal as you go. So I've got some pecan and some apple wood. We're just going to kind of intermingle them along the coals. So as it burns, it'll burn that wood. Now we've got our wood in place. We're going to go ahead and get our grate on and our lid. And we're going to set our vents to about halfway. Halfway on the top, halfway on the bottom. So we've got our grill at the temp. I've got a drip pan set up in there just to catch some of these drippings. Put it on there fat side down. Close it up, and we're going to check on it probably at least 2 hours. It might even do a little longer before we wrap it up. So we're sitting here at the 2 hour mark. We're going to come in here, see what we're working with. We're starting to get some good color. Our bark's starting to adhere. We're not quite where I want to wrap it yet. I want to get a little bit darker than that. So we're going to give it another hour or so, and then we'll come back and check it again. So we've been on here for about 3 total hours. I'm going to take a peek. It's looking good. It's colored up. I think this is about the time I'm going to go ahead and wrap it. I'm going to get it in a pan, we'll get it inside, and we'll add a few ingredients once we get it inside. So we've got this butt in here. We're going to get it wrapped up. I've got about a half a cup of apple juice just to help steam once we get this foil over. We're going to go in with some sweetness and a little bit of heat with this hot honey. Just going to drizzle that right over the top. And then a little bit more of the Sweet and Savory O.G rub. Another sprinkle right over the top of it. Get a piece of foil. Wrap it up tight. So our probe is going off, telling us we've hit 202. Turn that off. Just going to take my thermopen and just kind of poke around, just make sure it's feeling nice and tender. And it is. Want it nice and easy. We're going to get this off. We're going to let it rest for at least an hour. You could drop this down in a cooler and you could rest it, almost 6 hours. You just want to keep that temp above 140. Once it gets below 140, that's when you want to either eat it
or get it in the fridge.
So it's been an hour since we took this off the Weber Kettle. It was a total of 7.5 hours, including the rest. So I'm gonna come on here, open this foil up. Good looking pork butt. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna see if we did our job. See how clean this bone comes out. Pretty much crystal clean. I've got a clean foil pan, and I'm just gonna kind of almost muscle it out a little bit. This right here is our money muscle. Come in here. You see it's gonna shred right apart. Want to get some of that good bark in there. All our seasonings are. And just behind that, you should find some tubes. There's a tube there. You can see kind of where it gets its name from. Those are some competition pieces that a lot of competition teams are going to turn in. And they're turning in their pork category. There's normally 2. Sometimes it comes off with the money muscle, but there's part of it right there. And what you can do as you come through here is you can pick out some of that unrendered fat. Sometimes it just doesn't all render. I'm just going to shred it right by hand. You can use, they make different tools that you can use, but honestly I prefer just to shred it by hand. That way I can pick different things out. There's the other part of that tube. And we can just come in here and grab some of the different pieces. Make sure you're getting some of that good bark in there. This is those pieces that are around that blade bone. Different chunks. Let's flip it over to the fat side real quick so I can show you some of this. We call it bacon meat. It's not really bacon, but it's underneath that fat cap. And you can see right there, that's some of the best meat on the pork butt. Sometimes you just gotta give it a little taste for yourself. Delicious. And that's so juicy because it's sandwiched in between 2 layers of fat, basically. Another competition piece that a lot of teams will turn in. Other than that, we're just going to kind of shred this butt apart, picking out like that is all just unrendered gloppy fat that you don't really want to eat. And you can serve it to somebody you don't like. So we'll get the rest of this shredded up. I'm going to show you a little trick to get some flavor deep down in this meat. We've got all our pork pulled, and just get some flavor deep inside there because we got some flavor on the outside, but it's a big cut of meat. You're going to need some flavor on the inside. We're just going to come in. I like to use a vinegar sauce. This is Blues Hog Tennessee Red. And you don't want really enough in there to really even tell that it's sauced. Just enough to give it some flavor. And then another layer, we're just going to come back with whatever barbecue rub that you used. And just give it a good dose. And then come back and mix that all together. Just doctor it up a little bit to get some flavor in those pieces that didn't have any rub on it. Then you got a pan of pulled pork, and I think we're gonna make a barbecue sandwich out of this real quick. Got just a brioche bun here. I'm gonna come in here and take some of our pulled pork. A little as much as you like. I'm gonna do a pretty good sized sandwich. And this is where you can kind of make it your own. I really am liking this raspberry chipotle from Blues Hog. You can use whatever. So I'm just gonna drizzle it right over the top. Top it with your top, and that's a good pulled pork barbecue sandwich. You can add coleslaw to it if you want, whatever you like. That's how I like it, just plain pork and bread. So now it's time, we're going to dive in, see how good it is. You can already tell it's going to be good. It is good. It's tender. We get some good smoke from that Weber Kettle with the wood chunks that we use. We use pecan and apple. Really like the raspberry chipotle on especially pork and chicken. Meat's tender. Get some flavor from that seasoning and sauce we added at the end. Dynamite pulled pork sandwich. Thank y'all for hanging out with us today. We appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. And we'll see y'all next time. I'm going to go finish this sandwich.